Hello everyone, welcome back once again. So we're about to start now part 2 of our epic transcontinental journey all the way to, well, this leg is going to take us from Sao Paulo Guarulhos, where we are, until Johannesburg. Then we're going to do continuation from Johannesburg on to Bangkok, from there on to Hong Kong. It's a pretty long way to go, and I expect in about 24 hours from now ish we should be touching down in Hong Kong. So it's quite a long journey for those involved. We are just boarding now. We have a full flight of people on this journey to Johannesburg. So it's actually not full. No, we're quite a lot of people, but not quite full yet. And they're going to Johannesburg, and from Joburg on to Bangkok. We're just trying to simulate some 90s routes. Estimated time of departure is supposed to be at 10:55. So we've got about 30 minutes-ish to go. Let me just show you very quickly what the plan is at the moment. So that's us. We're taking about 76.2 tons of fuel, cost index 80. It's going to be flight time of 8.5 hours on our way to Johannesburg, just over the South Atlantic Ocean. Once we leave Sao Paulo, we kind of track a little bit north towards Rio, and then it's a right turn over to the coast of Africa. There's really not much going on. It's not ETOPS required because there's only 3 engines, which is why we haven't planned for it. And we make landfall somewhere around Cape Town, and then from Cape Town it's up towards Joburg. All that in 8.5 hours, and that should put us on arrival at 20 Zulu, which is 10 p.m. local time in Joburg, where we do a 1-hour turnaround, and then boom, back in the air, off we go to Bangkok, where we get there early in the morning tomorrow. Again, it's an hour in Bangkok, and then on to Hong Kong, which is going to be a lot of fun. Let's make sure we got all of that right, all the information's there. Captain's name Ribeiro dos Santos, and the dispatcher is Mohammed Jesus, which is a believable name for Brazil, to be honest. Let's import this flight. I'm actually just used the same one here, VARIG MD-11. This is a real world airline route, or was a real world airline route back when VARIG was around. At the moment we're parked here at Terminal 3603. And what we're going to do as we set up the departure, here she is, 1204, so it's going to be easterly departure. We're going to use runway 10 left for set departure. It's going to be the Ecopo 1 Alpha. We'll try Amvol Golf Romeo 027, then Ecopo, and I believe my plan was to go to Nibru, and then onwards from Nibru. We'll go past Rio once again, which is actually where we started our journey, to Aldeia, and then across the Atlantic. At the moment there is no ATC at Sao Paulo, but there are a few other guys in and around the area. American 202 is here, and so is Azul 4193. Good. So let's jump right in. Let's get this flight underway. That's our gorgeous MD-11. This is a 1967 livery, onwards from VARIG. That little sign there is Icarus, the story of the guy who had the wing and then flew too close to the sun, and then fell off. So I'm not really sure why that would be an amazing airline logo, but that's Icarus anyway. And let's jump into the flight deck and we'll get started on work. Okay. Alright, that's coming on. That's tested. line IRS. Alright, let's just make sure we have enough oil. Yep, we have enough oil to Joburg. And we're taking a look at our hydraulic fluid, also sufficient to take us to Joburg. Miscellaneous has something it wants to tell me. So all of these are struggling, which is fine. Correct nav database. Flight plan. Okay, we are going to ask for an upload from SimBrief. Flight plan is sent. Ah, yeah, there it is. Let's initialize the IRS. The alternate today is supposed to be Fale, which is King Shaka in Durban. Durban, King Shaka is there. And let me just pull this up here. Cost index is going to be 80. We're keeping the same flight number from last time. We have VARIG 828. Cruise levels, we're gonna have 350. 350. 3. That's a double tap, sorry about that. So I'm in Sim Update 5, which is doing funny things for me. For example, these little blue I don't know, like switches, when you click them, weren't there yesterday. They are today. They are quite annoying. For whatever reason, we have a descent to 270, which we're not going to do. And we're going to go ahead next for 390 slash 39. God have mercy. 39. Good. The temperature at 330 is going to be minus 44 degrees. And this route today we've got average wind correction of plus 19, which is good for us. Nice tailwind. As discussed, we're going to go ahead and set the SIDs. From runway 10 left by the Copa 1 Alpha, transitioning on to, let me remind myself, Nibru. That's it. We're going to insert that. A long way to go to Joburg, so we're not going to go ahead and set that up now. For my own reference, on the fixed page, we are going to select for in case of an engine failure the opposite runway, which is the parallel runway 10 right. It's missed approach would have taken us to a waypoint called Isimo at 6,000 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's going to be also a nice and safe plan for an engine failure, should we have that. So that's it, to Isimo. Let's get the APU started. Ah, it's already on. So let's get the APU bleed on then. Ignition A for today's start. Ah, I guess we shouldn't select it yet. Yeah, because if we select the ignition, then the packs go off. Okay, did not know that. Seatbelts can go on because the fueling is complete. We are going with a total of, oh gosh, I can't read that. That's a lot of math. Let's just see if it shows up here. 76.2. It does show up. Perfect. That's what we're going with. Payload and performance modified. That's great. Is that right? 76.2. Yep. It's only an 18% load according to the. Well, to me it sounds like a lot more than 18%. We're going to get information for our performance. And we'll get a takeoff weight. We'll do flex, no anti-ice required. Optimum flaps is fine. Packs can go off, and let's calculate that. Alright, good speeds. Why don't I have a... There we go, good speeds. So with the flight plan mostly completed, let's go on to the init page here and let's start working on page 2 of the init. That's a block fuel, that's the zero fuel, that's the takeoff gross weight, that's the takeoff CG, and the zero fuel weight CG. Alright, now I get a message saying that there's insufficient fuel, which is surprising. Let's go ahead and take a look at why that might be the case. For taxi we got 0.9, that's correct. The trip is 65.4, actually it's going to take 64 tons, so that's a little bit off there. Contingency 3.35%, that's fine. Alternate 5.9, well that's a little bit less. The alternate's going to take 5.4 instead. Okay, apparently that's not allowed. Final reserve is 2.6. Let's go ahead and make it 2.7 for my sake. And that's it. So what does she say the problem is? Okay, let's go back to the progress page. Arrival with 10.8 in Joburg, which is actually fine because our final reserve plus alternate should be 8.1, so this is actually okay. So I think there might be some sort of misunderstanding or communication error here. Flap for departure is going to be flap 16. The packs are going to be off. We're going to flex to 59 degrees Celsius. So this part is just going to cover the departure of the Guarulhos until as high as we can get, because I got some tasks that I need to take care of here at home. So we're going to do the best we can, and we'll just try to get away on time, and we'll be able to spend as long as possible in cruise. I can tell you already this is going to get very annoying, this double clicking situation. 0.1 slash, the wind correction was headwind of 3 knots, so +3. Outside air temperature was 21 degrees Celsius, which is set. Ah, sorry, I've made this mistake before. You need to tell it exactly in Celsius how much it's going to be. 21C. Check or confirm V speeds. We're going to do that just now. (31, 53, and 66). 1, 3. 1. 153 and 156 is next. This is an action that's taking way too long, and it shouldn't take this long. Initial climb was not specified here on the SID. Let's take a look to verify I didn't get that wrong. No, there's no initial climb specified on the SID. I'm gonna go ahead and set 10,000 either way, because the initial, there's a below altitude there at 10, so we'll do that. 10,000 set, flight directors on, nav and profile can go on. Takeoff set here. Oops, let me just go ahead and install the speed brakes. For the arrival into Guarulhos, we had an issue with the reversers, which I think should be fixed, and we shall be able to find out on our arrival into Joburg. I do think it's okay, but we won't know until we know. Let's see, anybody online? Nobody. Okay, I think we're actually all set and ready to go. We're just waiting for another 100 passengers to board. Fueling's done. I told you what the plan is. There's no ATC clearance required. Yeah, good. Just gotta sit here and wait. We can set the parking brake in the meantime. Our arrival from Guarulhos had an interesting situation with the brakes and reverses, as I discussed. So these are sitting at close to 300 degrees Celsius. So I'm glad to see that they've cooled down to ambient temperatures now. And with all of it sorted out, we should be able to start our flight shortly. Just another 100 passengers to board. I am going to set up for the engine out acceleration here, 3261. I can tell you already, if this was a real world thing, God, this is a very long journey to take as a passenger. But good that we had some time at Guarulhos. You could walk around, get some food, and you're actually on the international terminals, even though you were a domestic flight. So there's nobody actually leaving the plane. Everyone's just sort of been asked to leave. The thing, they can come back to the original seats, of course. And we've just done a thorough clean, refueled the airplane, and now we're going to take our passengers on to Joburg. Alright folks, I'm going to leave you here for 2 seconds. I'm going to fix myself another cup of coffee. It's going to keep me awake for our departure. So hang in there, please. Alright guys, thanks for waiting, I'm back. Hope it wasn't way too long. So, while I was away, I was also trying to find a way to kind of get rid of the, what do you call it, the blue tooltips. I have not seen them in a long time. The problem is I'm on Sim Update 5, which I think is messing things up for me just a little bit. Let's see what I can do about that. So, oh. Apparently nothing seems to have sorted itself out. Okay, so the goal was just to threaten it. I'm not sure what I'd done. I did nothing. Okay. Happy. Glad it worked out. So that's all on auto. I've not taken manual control of any system. I did mess with this a little bit because I'd forgotten to take the flaps up after the first arrival. But that's now sorted out. Excuse me, I just need to sort this a bit low. There you go. So I can make myself look a little bit better on stream. Good. And other than that, we are all set. The entire team's ready to go. Next up, Joburg. I'm gonna make sure that the external stuff is also complete. So all the bags are now loaded, doors are closed, APU is running, and all we gotta do is get going. Alright, the coffee's a bit warm, a bit too warm. Obviously this is not really a requirement anymore since I've got the microphone. Since I got the microphone, but it's kind of nice to have it around anyway. So yeah, it's just I'm kind of used to having this down here. And also I get most of my VATSIM audio in here as well. Almost done. I think 8 minutes for departure. We should be able to make it. Nobody has any questions. We're not really worried about the weights and stuff, so we're going to start the 2 engines, and then on the taxi out we'll start engine number. So we'll start 1 and 3, and on the taxi out we'll start engine number 2. Save us a little bit of time. So we're going to exit onto the main ramp. First right once we get there, or second ramp by looks of it. Bravo Alpha Yankee. So might be the second right actually, and straight down to the runway. We'll disconnect the external power here. Thank you for being available. Oops. GPU can be disconnected. The bulk cargo is going to get closed now. You know what, I'm not familiar with where that is. Let's go see if we can find it. 1, 2, bulk. Maybe this was a bulk cargo. Okay. All doors are closed. Everybody is ready to go. And we are now going to start our pushback sequence. Trucks can go off. Alright, they're ready for push. So am I. Let's get the sequence correct. The beacon light can go on. Those are on. All of them are on auto, so they'll come on as required. And I'll just go ahead and set this to transponder 2000. And let's say hello to Sao Paulo. Guarulhos traffic, VARIG MD-11. Push and start from Terminal 3 using runway 10 left for departure. VARIG MD-11 for Sao Paulo traffic. VARIG. That's authentic. Alright, that's the airplane lifted up. And my colleague has started the flight timer. We're gonna push and start to face the middle taxiway south on Yankee 6. Parking brake released 4 minutes ahead of schedule, 10:51. Alright, we're starting engines, this time with ignition sequence A. We'll start engine number 3. Red light day. And we're waiting for about 15% N1. There's 15% N1. Fuel's going in. Alright, looks like a good start on number 3 engine. 246-ish. Super. Let's go ahead and start number 1 engine. Red light. Wait for 15% N2. It's pretty cool that you can see how the systems are coming alive. The crossfeed, for example. Got a message there that says no intercept. I'll clear that once we get the flaps down. Alright, the pushback is still going, so I think we do have time to start number 3. Oh no. 236. Parking brakes are set. Alright, we have a short time as we get down, and our colleague is going to disconnect. So I'm going to go ahead and start engine number 2 while we wait, and then we can just taxi out quickly, airborne, and we'll get to Joburg ahead of schedule. Schedule. I'm not really sure what's going on, but for whatever reason my performance is absolutely tanking. All it says is aircraft, don't know what kind, nothing, just aircraft. See the tow truck, lady with the pin. Fuel quantity used to check. Let me clear that. Honestly, I don't know how to do that. Let's go up to fuel. Yeah, I need to find a way to reset the fuel used. I don't know how to do that. So since that's a known issue at this time, we're gonna ignore it. Okay, my trim switches are a bit iffy. Let me see. Okay, it's gonna take a second here. Let's go ahead and set the takeoff flaps first. And while the flaps are going in, I'm going to clear this message, sensor fail, insufficient fuel, clear all those messages that came earlier. And what I need to do, unfortunately, is to reset my flight yoke because the trim doesn't seem to be moving, as you can see. Oh, now it is. Just needs additional force. .6, or maybe it needs flaps first. I'm not sure. To solve this fuel situation, maybe there's something up here in the panel that can help. APU bleed can go off, and on the fuel panel. Something that can help me reset the fuel. Okay, that's not it. Because 737 has something here that you can just hit reset. I'm not sure how to reset it on the MD-11. I think that's something we should maybe look at on the taxi out. In the meantime, let's just make sure we have the right config. Flaps are at 16 as we briefed. It's full left, full right, all the way down, full way up. It's full left rudder for us, and full right rudder. Good. That's satisfactory, and we can then start our taxi. Parking brake is released, and the nose lights are on for taxi. In fact, all the lights are on for taxi. Guarulhos traffic, VARIG 828, taxiing to runway 10 left. Guarulhos traffic. Alright, they are now aware, hopefully, and we'll get taxiing, and in the meantime I'm going to ask how to reset fuel used on the 11. I do not recommend that you do this. You need to navigate to performance, flight log, and reset to 0. Physical overhead. On the overhead panel, locate the fuel used reset. Gosh. I can't text and fly. Located on the forward overhead panel, typically in the fuel system area. Okay, now we need to find that. Forward overhead panel, that's this one here. I don't know what fill on means. I don't remember seeing those on the last time. Oh no, the lights are back. Ah, there it is. Fuel use reset. Clicked. Ladies and gents, I apologize. Technically, this is a reportable occurrence. We won't report it though because there's no one to report it to. So that's done. We have how many passengers on board? Because I'm just realizing you can set it up there so the air conditioning system kind of knows how to take care of itself. I believe it's 285 if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even less. 256. We're gonna go set 260 here then. Good. I think that's it. I've got the weather radar. We got flaps for departure. Engine is good, no warnings are up now. Auto brakes, seat belts, no smoking. Everything's here, everything's ready. And it's time for us to go. You see, that comes on once in a while, like it lingers a bit. Interesting. Papa Papa Victor Oscar Papa. Here we go. VARIG. Very nice. I do like the look of the MD-11. That being said, I am now slightly worried about using Sim Update 5 and going to Kai-Tak without it being properly tested. So we had a short sector. That was about 40 minutes from Guarulhos to Galeão, which worked out well. And now we're going to do the long one up to Johannesburg, which is still not the longest. The longest one is actually from Johannesburg to Bangkok. That's close to 10 hours. Right, here we're on Gulf. We'll turn in. Something's beeping. Okay, well there's no warning, so it mustn't be that important. We'll advise. Guarulhos traffic, VARIG 828. Lining up, runway 10 left, Guarulhos. Turn off lights, high intensity lights, they're all on. What is that beeping? Specifically a beeping within the flight deck. Auto flight is armed. Let's not make the same mistake we made last time. Engine number 2 is coming up to help. Okay, you know what? Let's bring it to a stop and just take a look what that is. AP power available. I need to turn this off. We don't need the AP power. I wonder if that's what's the problem. Start stop switch is off. The APU should be on her way out now, and let's get going. Let's pull all these mamacitas up. Nice. It's time to go. Thrust set. 80 knots. V1. Rotate. Gear up. Yeah, that was me. Nav 1 takeoff climb to flight level 100. We're gonna do at least one turn so we know how it feels, or how it is gonna feel when we're in Hong Kong. She's nice if and when it's trimmed. Right now it's trimmed pretty well. But I moved it so long ago. Oh, okay, so she's doing it herself, the stabilizer. So you can see it goes to 6.1 aircraft nose up. I didn't command that. It's probably the alert to let me know that, hey, I've done it. Great, there we go, we're accelerating here. Which is probably what she had trimmed for. Pick up one notch of flaps and follow that turn to the right. Car attack's gonna be fun. See, went up to 2.1 aircraft from nose up. Units. And okay, maybe I'll try one more turn. I think it's kind of fun actually. Flaps up. And while the flaps are going up, we can go ahead and tax lights can go off. We don't need the high intensity runway lights, sorry. And the logo lights still off. Fantastic. Pitching up to maintain clean speed 257. Nice and smooth. Let's give ourselves an unrestricted climb to level 300. Seems the stabilizer just needs light touches. Nice. The auto flight is now on. I'm no longer involved. Well, I am involved, but she's going to take care of most of it herself. Speed window is open to 57 knots for the pitch. At this point we're through the transition altitude as well. We're going to pull this for standard. And I'm gonna go on to the status page here. Very nice. It's an interesting choice of way to do it because you just departed Rio de Janeiro, which is or was the primary airport that VARIG used to fly out of, from my limited research. And then you pick up passengers at Guarulhos, which is of course Brazil's biggest city. I think economic heart is a way to say it as well, appropriate way to describe Sao Paulo. There from there we just kind of fly past Rio again on our way to Johannesburg. Sorry about that, I had a voice note that I need to listen to. Alright, we're well past Ikopo now, above level 130, unrestricted climb out for us as well. At this point, it's safe for me to now go ahead back to profile. I'll just make sure we're past Ikopo. I've still got it referenced here. 210. Back to profile. Pitch, nav 1, climb thrust. It's all pink, all managed. Or magenta, I was supposed to say. Oh, sorry about this. We are true 10K. Seatbelts can go onto auto as well. Engine ignition not on. Okay, so I guess it needs to stay on for the whole flight. That's good. What I'm curious about, yeah, cabin altitude rate, good. Very nice. You can see how much the trim is sort of forward. I believe it's because the MD-11 has large, has very aft CG. That's probably correct, which I think makes it also tricky on the landing, which we experienced already in Sao Paulo, and I'm hoping that the landings just get better as we keep practicing our little MD-11. But it seems to be very precise. You can't flare too high because you're going to slam it down or you're going to go back in the air. You can't flare too late, and it needs to be just right. And I don't think I've worked it out. The arrival in Sao Paulo had us, well, the arrival in Sao Paulo predicted that we were, well, not predicted, according to one of the landing tracking monitoring things, said we landed at about 630 foot per minute, whereas on Volanta recorded 233 foot per minute with 1.1 something G's. So not bad, not great. They're not amongst my best landings, that's for sure. Let me see. The last time I flew the MD-11 on stream, we flew Western Global, I think it was, and yeah, I think that's Western Global, and we touched down with 325 foot per minute according to Volanta. So the last one was actually an improvement, not by a lot, but by a bit. Caraguatatuba, Costa Verde. So these are parts of the state of Sao Paulo. The next state is going to be the state of Rio de Janeiro. We're going to pass over it as well. Point called Cabo Frio, Cold Cape. Alright, let's take her all the way up to flight level 350. I'll be honest guys, I think this is the interesting part of the flight now completed. We have departed successfully. Most of what's left is just enjoying the coastline and the view on towards as we cross Brazil. But it's not going to last too long. I think it's about another 10, maybe 15 minutes. And then that's it. We're going to be flying over the Atlantic. There'll be a sunset. I'm going to assume the sunset's going to happen somewhere just before Cape Town. And then from that point on, there isn't a lot going on. It's just a lot of blue. So I think now's a good time to just take a look here, and we'll come back with the idea of what time our arrival in Johannesburg is going to be. We're going to get there at 1945 Zulu. And let's see if we can't see what's happening in terms of the fuel. Right, no extra time. She seems to be slightly confused with this. 72.3. Yeah, all of those were correct, but she seems to be confused with what we're supposed to land with, because we're getting there with more than enough to land more than enough fuel. So maybe a direct at some point is going to restart the calculations, but for now it looks okay. There's a step climb for 37. Speaking of which, what is our pre-selected cruise? The Optimum is at 3.3, sorry. Let's go back to that. Performance. Optimum is 3.3 and maximum is 3.7. We're climbing to 3.5, which is slightly above optimum, yes, but better to have the level now than not. Alright folks, I'm going to step out very quickly. I'm going to show you our lovely 737 screaming by in flight. Well, isn't that a wonderful view? And I'll leave you to it, ladies and gents. Thanks very much for joining me on another stream. This one's a bit shorter, but you can catch the arrival into Rio. Oh, I'm sorry, into Johannesburg. You can see Rio going past here, but I'll leave you to it. Enjoy the views. And I hope you join in for the arrival as well. Into the arrival into Johannesburg. Thanks, have yourself a lovely afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our cruising altitude. We will shortly begin our in-flight service. We offer a variety of complimentary beverages and snacks. For your information, we are currently cruising en route to Sao International, with a remaining flight time of approximately 9 hours 5 minutes. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the service. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain. We are currently cruising at 35,000 feet. We are on schedule for an on-time arrival into Sao International at approximately 21:35. The weather in Sao International looks good, with few clouds. We will update you again before we begin our descent. Thank you.
Alright folks, I think that's gonna be it for the stream. I thought we could see a little bit more of Rio de Janeiro as we cross by, but it seems to be cloudy, and very soon we'll start the turn eastbound, well properly eastbound, to cross that South Atlantic all the way to Joburg. I think it's time we say Ateja aqui, and we'll catch you for the arrival later on in the evening. Obrigado.